From Central City, New Orleans police are searching for the person who shot and killed a 27-year-old man.
The New Orleans Police Department is investigating the city's latest homicide, where a man was found fatally shot early Thursday morning in Central City.
Right now, one person's in custody in connection with a murder in Central City. New Orleans police say a man was shot and killed.
Jessie TuTu Reed, born to Adrienne Reed and Jesse Lee Harrison, was raised in New Orleans, Louisiana. The Melpomene Project, to be exact. Throughout his teen years, TuTu would attend Booker T. Washington High School, located in the uptown area of New Orleans. Known throughout the streets of the NO, TuTu was loved and respected by his peers in the Melpomene Project. Just like most youngsters coming up in the impoverished environments of the inner city, TuTu would eventually turn to a life of crime. No stranger to getting it on, TuTu wouldn't hesitate to slang that iron. Running the streets, TuTu stayed into beef, always getting into some kind of shit with dudes from different hoods. Skip out the Melf would even take to his platform to run an ep about TuTu hitting at the dudes out the 13 with a yapper. This would allegedly happen in 2002 after TuTu and his partners got into it with some dudes out the 13 round club Focus, aka the Friendly Touch. Let's fast forward. In 2008, the NOPD were looking for TuTu in connection with a quadruple shooting which injured 4 people in Central City. The 2008 incident would be one of many troubles with law enforcement that TuTu would encounter. In fact, TuTu had been arrested several times since 2001, mostly on drug-related charges. His most recent arrest was on February the 28th of 2008 on charges that would include possession of marijuana and illegal possession of a firearm. NOPD Deputy Superintendent Marlon DeFellow would also identify TuTu as a tentative suspect in the Good Friday murder of Lerman Robinson in the 1200 block of South Johnson Street. The news headlines would read, in New Orleans' first lane in a week, a man was fatally shot Friday in the B.W. Cooper Public Housing Project. Lerman Robinson, age 25, was shot about 9:50 a.m. in the 1200 block of South Johnson Street. Police responded to a call about a shooting and found Robinson laying in a courtyard with an apparent gunshot wound to the head. He would die that Friday at 5:50 p.m. It's no secret that TuTu was fully immersed in the streets and everything that came with them. Some would say that after T. Darrow got locked up, TuTu had branched out and started rocking with other dudes that he would have never been rocking with if T. Darrow was home. Let's take it back to 2007. The whole uptown knew that the beef was on and popping. April of 2007, shots would ring out while Darnell Stewart, aka Dernie, Jessie Reed, aka TuTu, and Kareem Peters were sitting in their car on Clover Street. Kareem was the only one hit during the shooting. After realizing that he had been hit, would drive himself to University Hospital. The NOPD will recover 19 shell cases at the scene. Although TuTu was not hit during the shooting, this wouldn't be his only time facing gunfire. TuTu will be shot up over 11 times when DMX performed at the House of Blues in the city. Although doctors would be forced to place a trait down his throat, TuTu would ultimately survive his wounds. In another incident, TuTu would be shot downtown when men would pull up and hop out of an SUV and open fire, hitting TuTu. After being hit, TuTu would take cover in a nearby corner store. This is what would ultimately save his life, as he would also survive this shooting. It was no secret to the streets of New Orleans that the back and forth war was in full effect. Fast forwarding to LaToya Stewart, sister of Darnell Stewart, testimony in court, details of George Hankton, aka Cup's murder, would be given. During her testimony, LaToya would state that Kareem, Dernie, and TuTu got into it with Cup at a barbershop in the 17th Ward. Cup, a gangster himself, wasn't having it and would go word for word with them boys. As Cup was on the phone, they would open fire, shooting him from the back. Cup would die from from his injuries. It would be the murder of Cup that would ultimately lead to TuTu's death. Before the trial and Latoya's testimony, TuTu would already be deceased. The get back was real. The streets of the NO were like the Wild Wild West. Although the streets already knew what went down, while taking a stand at Hankton's trial, Gerard Fedderson, aka Fetty, would give details of a story that was allegedly ran to him by Walter Porter, aka Mooney. Fetty would go on to testify that Mooney, who knew that there was a bag on TuTu's head, would take the hit. The story goes like this. After spotting buku dudes hanging on the corner, Mooney, who didn't know how TuTu looked, hopped in the whip with third and swung back round there. After spotting TuTu, they started busting. When TuTu fell to the ground, Mooney stood over him, hitting him 50 times.
Well, new this morning, the trial for the man connected to the city's most dangerous criminal is scheduled to start today. A judge continued Edward Allen's first-degree murder trial until today. Prosecutors say that Allen took part in the shooting death of Jessie Reed back in 2009. Allen is said to have committed the crime with Telly Hankton. Back in October, the district attorney's office argued to have Allen's trial pushed back until after Hankton's trial due to a concern for witness safety, but Judge Dennis Waldron denied that motion.
Despite the district attorney's request for continuance, the trial of Edward Allen, the man accused of committing a murder with Telly Hankton, will go on as scheduled. WDSU reporter Gina Swanson on your side now with details.
A high-profile murder case will continue Monday as scheduled. This after a judge declined the motion from the district attorney's office to push it back to a later date. Edward Allen is a co-defendant with Telly Hankton in the murder of Jessie Reed some years ago on Terpsichore Street. Now, the district attorney's office wanted more time to prepare for this case. They also wanted to try Hankton on these charges before Edward Allen ever made it to trial. The DA's office says that they are not pleased with the ruling and they do plan an appeal.
I think that our prosecutors laid out the case very well and made clear to the judge what our concerns were, the reasons why we wanted to proceed in this manner, and so I think they made a very good case. Like I said, we're disappointed with the judge's ruling and we'll appeal it.
Edward Allen and Hankton are accused of the murder of Jessie Reed. Police do believe that killing was in retaliation of the slaying of a Hankton family member. That's the latest for now. We're on your side at criminal court. I'm Gina Swanson. Back to you.
That shit was so wild that Christopher Dorsey, aka BG, would mention the 50 shots in his song, Guilty by Association.
Yeah, I keep them bullets around. Keep them coolers around. Niggas get hit 50 times if my nigga Mooney around.